Now this is Chashu fit for a Super Saiyan.
Hey everyone, I made today's video in memory of the late Akira Toriyama. As you can see, I'm clearly not an artist, so I wanted to pay tribute the only way I knew how. Now, this is my personal interpretation of Goku's favorite dish, since he eats ramen all the time, and as far as I know, the only time Goku gets upset over food is when Vegeta eats a piece of chashu that he was saving for later. Combining these two ingredients, I will make the most decadent ramen dish in Dragon Ball media, the Heavenly Ramen Bowl from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which looks to be a Tonkotsu Ramen. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm still really new to YouTube, so this would really help me get out more content in the future. Today's question of the day: what style of ramen is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get cooking. Nice slab of pork belly right here. I like to make the chashu a day before so it gets time to chill and firm up in the fridge, which makes it a lot easier to cut. So as you can see, this one has the skin on, and we're just going to start by removing that top layer with a sharp knife. And just go nice and slow and be patient with it.
Dragon Ball was a huge part of my childhood. When I was 7 or 8, my parents bought my brother and I our first anime, the Dragon Ball GT collection, on a DVD. We'd be in the basement watching that on our little CRT TV every single night, and when we finished it, we just started over again. We probably watched GT front to back at least 10 times. Once we got a little older, we found out Dragon Ball Z existed, so we watched the series completely out of order. One of my most fond memories is when Budokai Tenkaichi 3 first came out, and we'd play that on the Wii for hours on end. When you get into a beam clash on the Wii, you'd have to swing the nunchuck and joystick like this, so by the end of the night, we were completely drenched in sweat. Our fights were so intense, we'd be screaming at the top of our lungs, and our parents had to yell at us to be quiet multiple times a day. Those are the good times. There you have it, skin off. And now we'll tie this up with some butcher's twine. Always get a little bit of extra string in case you don't have enough. And now just roll it up as tight as you can. Any method really works, but as long as you get it nice and tight. And we're golden. Rolled up nice and tight. I don't follow a specific method, I just make sure it's wrapped all the way through. All right, now we'll set this aside for now. I'll prep some aromatics. I like to prep a little bit of ginger. And then scallions. And lastly, a couple cloves of garlic. Okay, prep work is all done. Let's get this on a stove. So to start braising this, really any kind of pot works as long as it fits the pork belly. I'm just gonna use my Dutch oven since that's what I've got on hand, and I don't really have a metal pot that's big enough, so this is what we're gonna go with. All right, and to start off the braise, we will drop in our pork belly. Yeah, make sure you get a pan that's big enough, or make sure you get a pot that's big enough to fit this. And then we'll do 1 cup of water. A half cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup mirin, and I usually like to use brown sugar, but I completely forgot to get some at the store, so we'll substitute with about a tablespoon of granulated sugar and a tablespoon of dark soy sauce. After that, we'll add our aromatics. And we'll let this simmer for about 2 hours. So while that is braising, we can start our Ajitama, which is soy sauce braised eggs. And the nice part about this is we basically make a tare for the eggs, and that can also double as a base for the tonkotsu broth that we're going to use later. And while that's coming to a boil, I like to add in a little bit of white vinegar
mean, personally, this helps me peel the eggs a little bit better. Once that's boiling, we'll gently drop in our eggs. We want just enough water to submerge most of the egg. And once that 6 minutes and 20 seconds are up, quickly move these over to an ice bath. And then we'll let these sit until they're fully cool, and then we'll peel them. While the eggs are cooking, we can start our tare. We'll turn the heat back down to low, and we'll add in a mixture of 1 cup of water and half a cup of soy sauce, as well as about 2 teaspoons of mirin, a good amount of MSG because we need that umami flavor. I ran out of dry sake, so I'm going to substitute with some michu Chinese cooking wine. Just about a tablespoon of that. And we'll also add in a pinch of granulated sugar. And slowly let that come to a simmer and whisk in the ingredients until fully blended. And as soon as that starts to simmer, we'll turn off the heat and we'll add in a teaspoon of fine sea salt. And once well blended, there you have it, a very nice and simple tare. All we do is add the tare into our peeled eggs. And there we have it. Very simple Ajitama, or soy sauce marinated eggs. And we'll let this cool in the fridge and let it marinate for 8 hours up to 48 hours. It has been about an hour, and we're going to go ahead and give this a quick flip. Man, it's starting to smell amazing in here. All right, after about an hour and 45 minutes, Chashu smells amazing. We don't want to braise this for more than 2 hours because we'll lose a lot of the fat. So let's get this transferred over to a wire rack and let it cool for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If you can't resist taking a bite, go ahead. You've earned it. Once it's been cooled for about 30 minutes, we can transfer this to a freezer bag. And we can also pour in the leftover strained pork broth that we were just braising the pork with. If you've got a vacuum sealer, even better. If not, just try to squeeze out as much air as you can. And we'll let them sit for at least 6 hours in the fridge, or even better, overnight. It is 10 p.m. I was originally gonna make this ramen for tomorrow, but I just couldn't wait, so we're gonna have ourselves a late night snack. So we'll start by prepping some garnishes for the dish. We'll start by roughly chopping up some scallions. As well as some rehydrated and blanched wood ear mushrooms. And of course, the marinated eggs we made from earlier. Let's see how these turned out. Just the perfect amount of runny. Now, after about 8 hours in the fridge, our chashu was nice and firm. I can get rid of all this cooking twine. Now that it's chilled, it's a whole lot easier to slice into thin pieces. Make sure you got a sharp knife for this. I know a lot of ramen pros like to use blowtorches, but I don't have one, so we're gonna give this a really quick sear on high heat on my trusty cast iron. All right, and let your cast iron get nice and smoky, and toss these on really quick. Give it a flip after 20 seconds. And get that nice crispy char. All right, now that's seared, we can start making the ramen. Once boiling, we're going to add in our fresh ramen noodles. Now, I like to get my ramen noodles from Sun Noodles. They make really good fresh ramen. And plus, I haven't gotten around to learning how to make my own fresh ramen yet, but one day I'm planning to. So we'll cook these really quick for about a minute. All right, and this is just about ready, and we're gonna go strain this. And now we're just gonna heat up some of the bone broth I made the other day.
In a nutshell, boil some pork bones at high heat to emulsify the fat and protein, which will yield you this milky, cloudy broth.
And as soon as that comes to a gentle simmer, we're ready to plate.
In a large bowl, add 2 tablespoons of the tare we made earlier, as well as the bone broth we just heated back up. Next, we'll add the ramen. Then, gently lay as many slices of chashu you'd like along the sides. Add the marinated eggs that we worked on this morning. To garnish, add your chopped wood ear fungus. And if you like it, add some pickled bamboo shoots, or menma. Top it all off with some chopped scallions. Sprinkle in some toasted white sesame seeds. And lastly, top it off with some nori, or roasted seaweed.
And there we have it. That's my personal interpretation of Goku's favorite dish. Thank you again for Mr. Toriyama for making my childhood special and memorable, and may you rest in peace. And thank you again for watching. See you next time.